Let me just go get some copy pastarinos up here, guys. Welcome back to this best of 7, $300 on the line. We are now on the European server after having played the first 2 games on NA. QueenE was able to take both those games. Maybe we'll see a bit of a role reversal as Livy B takes the European games. I don't know. But spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, you can find her on Twitter at Livy B. Ladies and gentlemen, the pink Zerg player, Livy B.
The upper left adds the blue Protoss. It's mine, Sanity's QueenE.
And I got her, copy pasta right here. You can find her on Twitter, MYI QueenE. Once again, I would like to stress you should, if you're not already following these guys on Twitter, or rather these gals on Twitter. God, it's now very apparent to me how often I say guys. Anyway, you should follow these lovely ladies on Twitter. They do stream frequently. They always, of course, tweet when they're streaming. I think QueenE just recently tried to go full-time, or is already full-time with her streaming, so trying to make that like a career thing. Livy B, of course, is just online all the freaking time, doing marathons left and right. If you want to see him play, catch him on Twitch. That is the nice thing, too. Consistency is always a big deal, but... King Sejong is not a map where we're going to have anything greedy come out of QueenE just yet. She is going for the Gateway Expand. For Livy B, though, you know, I just feel... On top of this, too, like... 2 games now. 3 hatches, really quick. Not a bad idea if your opponent's going to let you go to that late game. But it's got to be like game 3, you realize, alright, if you're not going to be scouting, you can't play blindly that greedy.
Alternatively, while QueenE has been Protossing it in, one way, she could Protoss it up in another way. Noticing Livy B has been going for at least a hatch first, and of course 3 hatches for a pool. Cannon Rush? Nah?
You know what? The fact that Stardust is her teammate, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen in like the first games, and she was talking about like getting help for the series, but then she mentioned that it was Zervas, not one of her like teammates. I was like, oh, well, okay, Zervas is one of the teammates, but
I feel like this is actually a thing, right? Where like if you're not a pro gamer, or maybe if you're an up and coming pro gamer, either one, and you talk to like an established pro gamer, and you're like, man, I got this show match, man, I got this tournament, man, I have to face this guy, like what do I do? Me, people I've talked to, maybe these chicks right here, have all gotten the advice, all in them. Go for it, just all in them. Like Illusion told me to pick like Zerg and like Ling all in a Villo, and I was like, thanks, man. I didn't do it, but
you should have. That would have been so funny.
It would have. It probably would have worked because that's actually what Illusion does to troll a Villo. But anyways, so like Livy B has vibe. That's true, but you know maybe he was busy when she wanted to prepare. Whereas QueenE has like a bunch, like a bunch of guys that she has a team with, that she has contacts with, that probably are joking but also kind of serious. Like, I'll win her, bro. Just keep going. You're gonna win it. It's fine.
Well, you say this too, and I want to put some context on it, because it's not like, okay, some scrub players we don't want to give that advice to. Players like Bunny and such. We had Snoot versus Bunny in a show match a few months back, and Bunny just kind of... There's not a lot of ways to Terran all in, but he was Terran all inning with Hellbats like most games. The stupid, crazy bio push is other. I mean, even Snoot kind of expressed a little bit of, hey man, it's supposed to be a show match, not an all-in fest. But Bunny won that series, and the key thing is he won that series, and he got the money for it at the end of the day. Sometimes it doesn't really matter how you play, as long as you get that cash.
See, when Terran's all in, especially, I guess I remember with the Bunny thing, that was just, seeing, the abnormal. So I think it was still good for a show match.
Yeah, no, see, I like that because it was... If it had been a lesser player, like Snoot wouldn't have been able to hold off some of them like the way he did. Talking about this same show match from a while ago, but... we don't see Terran all-ins that much, especially the weird ones that Bunny was doing, where you could argue, like, it's hard to pull off. It's not the same as, like, a Banling Roach Bus, right? Like, when you Terran all-in, it's... Okay, if you're, like... Okay, if you're Protoss like what QueenE's been doing, it's, like... I'd say 60-40 whether you win on your own volition, right? But when a Terran all-ins, it's more like 50-50 at best, and that's like in a perfect world.
Well, Livy B has a Overlord now scouting. Now, I mean, she scouts and there's 2 gas in the main. And this is already, like, important because the last 2 games she has completely missed on scouting the 2nd gas.
I like this. Okay, so they certainly saw the Stargate. And if you guys don't know, if you look at the Stargate when it's building, you can kind of tell it's an Oracle just by the shape of it. So... we should see, spore colors come down here pretty quick.
I'm so used to GameHeart, I forget that like the regular interface doesn't show the like unit.
Why are you using the regular interface?
Well, once upon a time we all did.
Oh, I thought you meant like you're using it right now, and I was like, what's wrong with you? No. It's 2014. But I like this 4-color. Some Zerg players are really reluctant to do this, and they'll be like, okay, you know what, my Queen will get the job done. But that usually costs you like 7 drones or so. It's worth noting too, Livy B pulled off of gas. I'm not sure I like this choice. I feel when you are playing against Protoss, like even with what she scouted, you kind of still need to lay it heavy on the gas, lay it thick on that gas. Drone count is nice, but it's no good if you can't defend it.
Why is Shorty working? Let's try bait into the aura and the spore crawler, I guess. It almost worked. No, I think I actually would have needed 2 shots, but.
Well, I mean, Oracle still kills the Queen outright, kind of like a Banshee, but it will come out low. So I guess maybe just didn't want to lose the Queen was the logic there.
Well, yes, that's all true. But she wanted like to go behind just so the Oracle would be in range of the spore crawler when it finished. So it was the best of a bad situation. Just didn't quite work out.
Well, QueenE is getting ready to turn her Protoss dial up to 10. We've got another Oracle coming up, but a lot of gateways and no Forge.
No, Ford raise. What's wrong with this chick?
I love by the way you just like this chick, these bunch of dames, no good bells. Just like start throwing like every phrase we can at them. I'm trying to be all like PC. Yeah. I'm like, oh these ladies, these gals.
You can call them dudes all you want. You can call them
dudes,
like, chicks, like whatever.
No, I know. I find it funny as well. I actually haven't. I don't think I've ever called anyone like those chicks. It's just not a phrase I grew up with, I guess.
I've never said those chicks, I think. Well, maybe. If they were like at a mall or something. Ah,
these chicks over here! Hey!
Those chicks be tripping.
Alright, so, in all seriousness though, QueenE is getting ready to go hard with the aggression. And Livy B, she's only just taking her gases once again. I think her eyes were set on possibly mutas. I don't know. The gas times are a little bit odd to see. But, okay, it is going to be a +1 weapons upgrade. But this is exactly what I was talking about. She plays so greedy. I mean, she got some decent scouting this time, but she goes straight to the Hydra Den. Maybe she gets those out in time, but it's going to be at the cost of her third, almost guaranteed. I mean, how many gates? This is 7 gates. This is 7 gates with a Stargate, no less.
I believe she got 4 oracles, though. That's what's blowing my mind right now.
This is like halfway to a Nomi build. These oracles are going to shred, is what's kind of scary to consider, too. The Phoenix is a little bit useless, but it's the gateways. It's the gateways.
It's effective against the Hydras in small numbers.
Actually, that is true. 11 Hydras are coming out. Group Spine's not going to be done for this fight. I like the Spine Crawlers, but she's going to need these elsewhere. This third base, I don't see her holding this. Although, you know what, actually, I take that with 4 Queens. Oh, there's actually not that many transfuses, though, is the problem.
Yeah, they add a lot of DPS, and they will help against the oracles.
Oh,
the Hydras are on the way.
This is like overgrowth, though. Like, okay, she sees the third's defended, so screw it. Go take the natural. More Warpins coming. Oh, these pylons will not be dealt with anytime soon. 1 Spine Crawler left behind at home. I like that she's finally got the Hydras out. I don't know if this will be enough to hold this, though. Look at this base. It's, oh my god, so many Zealots to deal with. Those Force Fields are magnificently going to block this out. She'll have to go all the way around, so she's going to do that ahead of time, but she can also get Force Field from the back end, too. Oh, those Oracles. Oracles versus Hydras. The Oracles are going to win that fight. Oh, disgusting.
That was kind of funny.
Absolutely disgusting.
She still might have taken an okay trade, though. She has reduction while QueenE is kind of falling out with reduction.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, QueenE is all in with this, guys. Make no mistake. So, she kind of has to win the game with this push. She's done a good chunk of damage, but it's worth noting, once again, Livy B did save a good chunk of her drones. 14 did die. There's no getting around that, but if she can stave this off, she's got tech coming up behind this. The +1 weapons just finished. Now she's got the range on the Hydras. There's no sentries at this point, and the third base still stands. Livy B in a fantastic spot here holding, as long as she doesn't chase off of creep. Please don't chase off of creep.
It doesn't look like she's going to. I think if QueenE had actually used the 4 oracles not to kill, I think it was like 3 Hydras, but rather to kill the Spore Crawler and then go after the drone line. That she would be able to wreck the drone lines.
I mean, consider 14 workers still did go down though, so I mean, yeah, maybe that would have only got her an extra 2.
Well, I'm talking about like at the natural or the main.
Dude, this is some straight up brood war coming out of QueenE here, or not QueenE, Livy B. Just going mass Hydras, man. Screw other units.
Ling Hydra is definitely very accomplished.
Oh, it's good strategy. Yeah, it's a great response here to what we saw happen.
Yeah, and sometimes you do see it transition into Mutalisk, although Livibee is getting an invitation bit right now. It could be going up to Hive, they're on a Roach Warren later and go Roach, Hydra, Viper, or we could see the dreaded Swarm Hosts. I don't even know if we're going to get to that point, though. QueenE does not have any splash damage, and Avoid Ray, well, effective against Roaches, not so much against Hydras.
Livy B, I'm not sure I love her getting so aggressive like this. The Hydras aren't really well supported. There's no roaches for this. There's a lot of DPS in this composition, but most of the links have bled out. But she's going to shred that Zealot line. And you know what? Those force fields I thought were going to be a little bit better. One more would have sealed the deal. And Livy B, she's going to bust right in. The Immortal, it's not really that big of a deal if it goes down or not. It's not a big threat, but still lots of damage being done here. She can shut down the third. I think that might be a safer bet than trying to push you to the natural. Yeah, she's going to realize that too. Maybe no. Okay. 13 more Hydras coming up behind this. I mean, the reinforcements will take some time to get here, but she takes a fourth while this is going on. And this is the greed of Livy B finally paying off. Game number 3. She's got the money to make this many Hydras at a time.
And she's also getting that drone count up nice and high. It is going to be swarm hosts, in fact, so she's going to start a very slow barrage. QueenE is finally getting up to the Colossus, though, of course, to deal with the Hydras and eventually deal with the swarm host. But Livy B should really kill that third.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's a lot of focus here on the natural, but there's a free third right above her. Does she not know about it? Oh, she just doesn't know about it. There's a pylon.
Oh, pylon. I mean, that's
like,
a pretty good indication.
There we go. So QueenE can still cancel this, which is, I guess, a small upside, but it's a very, very small upside. I feel the momentum shift is coming quite heavy, guys. Again, this kind of comes to the back end of an all-in. There's a lot of times you'll hear casters throw that phrase around pretty loosely, but if you see no tech coming down, if there's no Twilight Council, no Robo, no Forge, no weapon upgrades, then you can pretty much safely say they're going all in with it. And that was the case here for QueenE. She came really close to knocking down that third. With the amount of zealots she had, I kind of feel like she could have dedicated to it and still recalled out with the majority of her forces, but said and done, and sadly, Livy B was able to hold that. So QueenE, who I guess it's maybe not so sad, she is still up 2, so if she does lose this game, hardly the end of the world.
No. Supply block. No. She needs that of the Colossus.
Yeah, really badly, especially with Swarmhouse coming out. Man, the locusts on the back of Swarmhouse glowed like crazy on game art. Just don't see this used enough. I guess the nice thing is the Oracle is going to provide detection. Yeah, there's the Envision being popped, but there's still so many Hydras. And let's not forget, like, once she gets the Hive Tech, because she's got the Infestation Pit, she can start getting those Vipers out, mixing it up, matching it up. Livy B going to be pretty smart here with the Swarm Host too. Not going to set them and forget them, as tends to be the case for a lot of Zerg players.
In fact, with the Spire coming down and the no more investment into the Swarm Host, I think she's going to transition into Mutalisk.
Yeah, I like the idea of a low amount. We see players like Starbuck do very well with going for a small amount of Storm Hosts just for like that auto defense while providing aggression through other means. Usually, of course, his case is Roaches. This case for Livy B, it's Hydras. But this is such an expensive army that I don't feel like she can afford to lose. So she really needs to get home with this.
Yeah. Again, just one force load off from really segmenting off a lot of Hydralisk. More Swarm Hosts are in fact on the way, so now maybe it's only for Corruptors. I guess. She still has a lot in the bank, but maybe not quite enough to have that really powerful Muta switch. The fact is, though, is that QueenE is on 2 bases, and anything she does,
it's very expensive.
Is gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, the supply count right now gonna says a lot. I like the fungal growth, so it's not a bad idea, but I would like to see Hive Tech more. I'd love to see Vipers get involved with this. We've seen how devastating it can be to abduct one Colossus into a whole swarm of Locusts or Hydralisks, and I mean, for Livy B too, she's got a really nice bank going right now. This is kind of how you play Zerg. You bank it up, then you do like that big max swap. But 4 Corruptors coming out, not exactly a crazy amount.
Not sure where those Colossus were headed. Still not sure where they're headed. Oh, they're trying to like keep on the back. I mean, that's kind of a cool idea.
But surprise!
Well, the Zelnaga is taken by Livy B, so
yeah,
that needs to be fixed.
A little bit out of position for this. But the thing is, force fields will lock out half this ramp if not careful, so she did kind of have to dive forward with this.
She had to recall. Go, recall.
No, she just put force fields. Okay, she didn't recall. She could put force fields down and fight the back end, but yeah, she just recalls in the end. Warp Prism has been spotted. Kind of a big deal. Oftentimes, a good way for Protoss players to get back in the game. I think I gotta tell you, like Todd, hands down the best player at this, in my opinion. Start warping, a ton of zealots, go to the main, and just harass the hell out of your opponents. I would love to see a Dark Shrine actually come down for Livy B at this point, or not Livy B, QueenE at this point. She's going for the Stargates to get eventual Tempest, which I don't disagree with, but I think either a Mothership or something more utility-wise is going to benefit her more right now, and trying to fight this army head-on is not going to be the way to do it.
I'm not sure if she's going straight up to Tempests, or maybe she's afraid of a Mutalisk switch. Tempest off of what is still not really well, bases that she hasn't taken a gas.
Right, but like what else? She can't afford 3 Void Rays at a time, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid she thinks it's a Muta switch.
The recall. No bueno. Leaves one of the Colossus behind. Very important unit at this stage of the game. Yo, here's the thing for QueenE too. These Zealots, they normally wreck Spine Crawlers. This isn't even close, but they don't have level 3 weapon upgrades like you would normally have at this phase of the game. So, naked, unupgraded Zealots are just being held off with no issue whatsoever.
Yeah. QueenE finally starting to get all that tech that she's desperately needing. The upgrades, the High Templars.
This one Spine Crawler. Oh my god. Normally you see like 50 Spine Crawlers can't even kill one Zealot, but in this case, the Warp Prism goes down and the aggression is ceased.
Does QueenE have any Colossus? Well, she has one Colossus, 2 more are on the way, but she can't take on this enough. This is too many Locusts to take on with just one Colossus.
Yeah. Even the Hydras are just going to shred through this. QueenE, I think at this point, has got to recognize, oh, let me, just give away all the Hydras. Force fields don't mean retreat. Force fields mean fight harder.
Yeah, she probably should have fought there. But,
yeah, let's look at check out. But her supply is still just massively up over her opponent. Almost double the supply of QueenE. QueenE's third base has been under siege by these swarmers slowly.
And now with the Infestors coming out, she no longer has to really worry about being blindsided with the swarm hosts. I mean,
when we started this too, before we even got into the first game, I was like, all right, ladies, we need a clean match. No swarm host BS because we got to cast Red Bull community cast in like a couple hours. So they're like, okay, no problem. But here's Livy B fighting for her life. And the thing is, all jokes aside, I'm really glad she's doing this because this is not a bad strategy to pick, especially to respond to the way QueenE had, I guess, failed with that aggression. But the problem is, as time ticks on, QueenE gets herself more back into this game. This Hive, I feel, is way too late for the position Livy B's been in this game. Like, she was so far ahead. The Corruptors were not a bad idea, but the Colossus would have been whatever to a Viper. A Blinding Clouds would have been really effective against the Stalkers. You know, this could have been like that auto win a long time ago. She's playing it really safe, and I don't disagree with that, but she could have been playing this a lot. Once again, we're seeing that style out of Livy B. She plays very safe and not so aggressive. And even transitions into her late game. But GG's called. And game number 3 will go to Livy B. So starting to tie it up, and as predicted, she turns it around on the European server. What do you know?